Hi everyone, my name is Iben, welcome to another Tuesday and another Zoopedia drop. We're starting off with the Eurasian beaver. This is an animal that we had already seen in one of the first trailers, and I must admit that it does look a little bit better than it did in that trailer. I really like how the fur looks this time around, and it looks a lot more complicated and textured, I believe, than it looked in the first shots that we had. Overall, I think it's a really beautiful animal, and my worries for the animal have actually dissipated a little bit. I do think this is an improvement of what we saw in the first trailer. I love the way that its paw is sitting on this branch, and speaking about the branches, these look absolutely amazing. Can't wait to build with them. The plants over here also look beautiful, but what I want to highlight a little bit is something that I've seen in some comments and in some Discord servers, that people mentioned that this looks exactly the same like the first beaver, the North American beaver, but if you compare it to the North American beaver we had in the first game, there is a significant difference to me, at least in texture quality. It does look different enough to a point where I would even be okay with having both beaver species in the game at one point. Don't need them both in the base game for me, but at least they look different enough for me to have them both in the game. But yeah, there are some significant changes to this animal that weren't in the first game, so that is something that I'm happy about. Moving on to another exhibit animal, here's another one of the butterflies. I think this is the second to last one that we had in the first game. At this point, I think I would have liked it more if they were all revealed at the same time. There's only so much you can say about these butterfly species, so I kind of wish that we had them all at once. Speaking of a returning animal, we have the Nile monitor. I think it looks really good. I love the way that its claw is sitting on this little rock. I know that these animals are a little bit posed for these screenshots, but still, I do kind of hope this is something that would happen in the game as well. But all in all, I think it looks really good. I don't have any big complaints about it. I really love the grasses here in the background, all these small rock pieces, and I especially like this dry bush over here, so that's pretty cool. If we compare it to the old Nile monitor, I don't have the best picture of it, but you can see that the texture wasn't that great in terms of quality. This is a bit of a blurry picture, but still, I think the iris also here was a little bit overpronounced. And if we compare this to the new one, I think this one looks a lot better. This wasn't an animal that was very high on my priority list, but I'm happy it's included in the base game of Planet Zoo 2. An animal that I'm much more excited about is the Sunda pangolin, and this is not the same species we had in the first game. That was a Chinese pangolin. What I think is absolutely amazing about this animal are these little hairs sticking out, and these are not just painted on, because if we really zoom in, we can spot right here and right here that these are actually hair cards, the same technology used for the mane of the lion, for instance. And that's something I really like, because it's a nice little neat detail that shouldn't have been there, but it was still added, and I think that's really brilliant. What I do think is interesting about this shot is that it's really dark, like you can barely see anything except for the plants. The pangolin itself is on a branch, which is super cool, and I do hope this implies that this time around the pangolin can actually climb. But the coolest thing about it for me is that this species is a lot more common in captivity than the Chinese pangolin, which is a little bit weird to say, because there are just more facilities that house these animals than the Chinese pangolin, but then you have the Formosan pangolin that is more common in European zoos. So like, depending on where you're coming from, it feels like an upgrade or a downgrade in terms of held in captivity. But for me, I do like the fact that this is a very commonly kept animal in Asian zoos. So if you're ever going to be making an Asian zoo, then this is a good animal to keep in it. So that's one of those things that I really like about it. All in all, I think it looks really good. I like all of the texture work, the model, it looks perfect. I have nothing to say about it. It is really cool. What also looks surprisingly cool are these giant tiger snails. They are returning from the first game, but all in all, I think the model and the texture really held up quite well. I don't think there are any major changes here, but I also didn't think they needed one. I think this is also the first exhibit picture that we have where we can actually see like a second animal inside of the picture. But all in all, yeah, it's still the same animal from the first game. It was a nice animal to have, and it's nice to see it in the sequel as well. Really love these rocks here. They look amazing, and all of the ivy pieces as well. They are absolutely gorgeous. Speaking about gorgeous, the Sylvan Snapper looks absolutely incredible. Really love it. It's a very vibrant looking fish. But honestly, I don't have much to say about it. This is an animal that I don't know that much about. I've looked it up and it's not super common in captivity, but it's still a nice addition. But there isn't anything that I can say about it that I haven't said about other fish so far. And the same kind of applies to the next animal. This is the clown triggerfish, and that's another animal that I do really like. This is a very unique looking fish, and for me specifically, I want to build a sea life as one of my first zoos in Planet Zoo 2. This is a good addition because a lot of sea lives have the clown triggerfish. However, this is another fish from the Indo-Pacific, and I think for some people they want to see some more different kind of fish from all across the world. But for me, I think it's a really beautiful fish. I really like how unique it is. I think they have done an incredible job at bringing it in the game. And we also now kind of know that these rocks here in the back are probably going to be flexicolor. We know that the other rocks are flexicolors, and I'm going to assume that these rocks here, as we expected earlier on, are also flexicolor. So I'm really happy that that is almost confirmed at this point. Really happy about that. I think it looks incredible. The last animal of this drop is the black wildebeest. For me, this wasn't an animal that was very high on my priority list. The blue wildebeest was always the better species for me. I don't really have an affinity with the black wildebeest at all, so like for me the blue wildebeest was perfect and was enough as an early addition. I think I would have liked this in one of the free updates, for instance, like they do with Jurassic World Evolution 3. I think I could have waited for this one, but I must admit they have done a good job at updating them. You can see that the muzzle has changed. These little knee pads over here, as I like to call them, have been updated. Overall, it looks a lot better. Because if you compare it to the first game, there is a significant difference. You can see that this is just one color over here. These knee pads, as I said, are missing. And all in all, the tail wasn't great either. So yeah, I'm really happy with the upgrades that it has gotten. But I'm not entirely sure if this was an animal that was really high on my wish list. But I guess it's nice to have them in the game. I'm not going to complain too much. And that is the last animal of this drop. If you've paid attention to social media, you might have seen this post pop up. So that means that we're probably getting some additional footage later this week during Gamescom, something that I'm really looking forward to. I always want to see even more of this game. So hopefully that piece of footage is going to contain some really cool and interesting stuff. Let me know what you think about today's drop, what you're expecting for whatever is coming on Gamescom. And yeah, just do everything you want to do. Like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you all again on this channel for more Planet Zoo 2 news.